gonna hold for 1 second because I see a lot of people are still joining. Hi, if you're on Periscope, tell me who you are. And Larry, you can come on in. You can say hi to people.
Hey.
Okay. So let's just give it 1 more minute because I'm seeing a lot of people still joining. And if you're interested in Periscope, the handle is @BigHappyLove40. So you can find us there while we're on the call. So for people who are joining, this is the where and how to find your really great guy. And tonight I'm going to be giving you 11 different strategies and teachings and ideas on how you can do this. And that will include some experiments that you can do in real life to kind of get out there and use these tips in practice. So I hope that you find them helpful, and I want to celebrate you for even showing up, because I feel like this is a really good indicator that there's a part of you that really is ready for this and you're willing to receive support. So I really want to celebrate you for being willing to hear this. And so as an overview, really, this call is for you so you're in the right place, if you are struggling with online dating. Maybe you even say you hate online dating because it's really exhausting. You might be saying that you feel like there's something wrong, like the people you're meeting just really aren't matching you. So if you feel like that happens a lot, then you're in the right place. The other thing is, if you're feeling kind of fearful about the dating process, then this will be really helpful. The other thing that I notice is, like, a lot of times we feel like we're not good enough, there's something wrong with us. And if you're feeling like that in any capacity, then this will be a good call for you. And this is also good for people who either you've never been married or you've gone through a divorce. Really, whatever happened to you that led you to being single. For me, I'd never been married and I struggled with it for decades, and it was really frustrating because I didn't know what was wrong. I felt like there was something wrong with me because I hadn't met someone, I hadn't been married before. And for me, that made it hard because I felt like people were skeptical of me because I hadn't been married and I was 40. Like there was something that told, you know, guys, that there was something wrong with me, and that felt horrible too. So the other thing is, this is for you if you're ready to have a committed relationship, if you feel like you're really ready to have that soulful, loving connection. And I will tell you that this whole process is not necessarily easy. I mean, this is really, ultimately, this all is about an inside job. Like, we have to be able to be working on those things that are keeping us single and recognizing when we're going back to old patterns of thinking, old behaviors, mindset that isn't serving us, and be willing to put in place strategies and triggers to help you move beyond that. So my intention for this call is that you have an opportunity tonight to dissolve some of these beliefs that are keeping you stuck. And if you're not sure what they are, then we can talk about that. But I think as we go through, these strategies, really notice where you kind of feel upset or feel annoyed or feel like maybe you're spacing off. I mean, really notice what's happening with you, because if something is triggering you or feeling like, well, that doesn't make any sense, I wouldn't do that, or no, that seems idealistic, or whatever it is that triggers you, really notice that and make a note, because somewhere in that is going to give us some wisdom about what is going on with you. So definitely be taking some notes, because I will be giving you practices that you can start right away and that can help you move into a more positive experience. And also, if you're interested, I invite you to consider how I can support you individually, because I feel like all of this stuff is going to open up different things for different people. So I'll tell you more about how we can do that later, but I just want to welcome you to consider that tonight is an opportunity for you. Tonight is an opportunity for you to move beyond something that is keeping you single or keeping you from the kind of love that you want. And along that lines, it really is important that you have that clear idea of what you want in a vision before you even start this whole process. So if you feel like that's something that you're not clear on, like you're not clear on what it is that you want in a meaningful relationship, then that is another thing that might be worth, having us, talk personally one-on-one another time. So welcome everyone. I see more people have joined just recently, and hi on Periscope. And so I want to introduce Larry, because Larry is my husband, and he offered to be that guest great guy to give us his perspective on things. And so as we go through these tips, I'll invite him to share a little bit about, his point of view on that to support you even more.
Hi everyone, welcome.
You should see his outfit. It's phenomenal. Anyway, so let's begin. And the first point I'd like to share with you guys is the idea that your big happy love, your divine partner, he is in between every other singles event that you're considering. He's not just at those events. He's not just online. Really, when you're ready to create meaningful love, it's time to consider that anywhere you are is an opportunity for him to show up. And oftentimes I see women who kind of have this sort of on and off switch. Like certain times they're like ready to go out and, be open to meeting new people because that's what the event is about. But it's not just that. It's about, any sort of activities and parties and things that you do. I mean, really starting to wake up to the fact that everywhere you go, there are men out there. And I know this is kind of a broad one, but really it's an energetic thing to be willing to be open to this. So what I invite you to do is just start noticing this, like noticing the men around you where you go. It could be the man in front of you in the grocery store line. It could be someone at the bank. It could be someone at Starbucks. Wherever you're going, just kind of notice it, because if we can start expanding our possibilities that, there are love stories ready to be created at any time, then that's kind of an exciting feeling. And the thing that I like to share on this is you can start engaging in public just by offering a compliment. And this doesn't mean you have to know that this person is qualified or single, like qualified in terms of being single or your match your values or any of that. It's just about opening up your heart and having that energy that's more open. So my love experiment for you here is to compliment a man. So what would it be like if this happened to me the other day. I was at the coffee shop and I walked in and the guy in front of me had this fantastic, crazy polka dotted shirt with this equally amazing polka dotted tie, and it was a super fun combination. And I just said, you know what, you look fantastic. And I could tell that it really, like, he was quite shocked actually that someone was give him a compliment, but it felt really good. And I feel like, you know, the more love we can put into the world, the better. So my challenge for you is complimenting a man in the world this week, maybe. Just try it. So just opening up your eyes to love. So what do you think about that, Larry?
I love it. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that would be comfortable picking up women or approaching women even sometimes. I'm kind of shy. I'm just more of like the little, you know, Jewish guy from New York kind of thing. And for me, just a smile from a woman is enough to kind of get me out of my shell a little bit. But oh my God, if I got a compliment, it's so easy to open that door to a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I love it. I mean, I get a smile and I just melt and I just want to open up. So it's to get complimented on clothes is the best.
Well, Larry does have an amazing sense of style, so I'm sure anyone would want to compliment you.
Thank you.
So there you go. Like, this is a great way to flirt. So really consider how you can open up in this way. So that's the first one. Let's move on to the second one, which really we're kind of easing into this one naturally, because I suggest you can find him when you are using good guy radar. And I imagine, like, if you can put on lenses that tell you that there are a lot of great guys out in the world and look for that, then you are going to experience a different world. Because what we know is that where our attention goes, our energy flows. So if you are feeling like, and it's really, I hear this all the time, like from online dating or whatever kind of experience you're having, and you're feeling like, oh, there's just no one out there, and you keep saying that to yourself, then that is what you're going to see. So I use the example of the game where you memorize, you look around. So if this is an experiment you can do, if I had you all looking around your room right now and memorizing everything that's blue, and you feel free to try this right now. You just look around, unless you're in the car, be careful. Memorize everything that's blue. Just at least like list 5 or 6 things you can see around you that are blue. Perfect. And now, tell me, we're experiencing a cat fight, ignore that. And now tell me something that's in your space that's pink. And unless you have been focusing on pink, you're probably gonna have a harder time listing that. And you've probably played that game before. But so really, really having lenses that show you good guys around you, even if you have to list men that you know in the world that you don't necessarily personally know, because there are plenty of guys that are probably great that we know as spiritual teachers, as leaders, as comedians, or, you know, maybe some people that you can reflect on in your past, like nice teachers, whatever that is, even relatives that you know they're kind, good people, and they also are men. So really being able to do that starts building up the evidence in your life that there are good guys out there. And then anytime you think that there aren't, then you have to bring yourself back to remember that there are. And what I like to say is that when we can see that greatness out there in men in the world, then it actually opens up space for men to be great. So think about that. If you are able to see greatness in the world, it actually gives the men around you permission to actually show their greatness. And so I encourage you to really tune into that. And certainly another level of this is when maybe you're going on a date with someone you've met online and you haven't met them personally before. If you imagine that you are meeting someone great, whether they're your person or not, that doesn't matter right now. It's really, how do we present ourselves in the world? So if you can let go of all the banter in your head that says, oh my gosh, what if he doesn't like me? What if he thinks this outfit is ugly, or whatever silliness that comes up in our head, which is, you know, it's real, but you don't have to believe it. You don't have to buy into it. What you can do is take ownership and empower yourself by saying, you know what? I'm going to assume that this other human being that I'm going to meet is a good person, and come from that place. Because when you can start a date from that place, then you are giving the date a chance. Sometimes we don't even give it a chance because we start with, you know, fretting about all these different things. Even if like their picture doesn't really look like them or something like that, we can get into a snowball effect. What if you could assume this person is good? So your experiment for this one is to take an inventory of all the great men you know in the world. List them. Even start noticing in your world where you see interesting couples. I think this is another way to bring more possibility of love into your life, when you're like, wow, that couple's interesting. Like, because sometimes we think, oh, well, he's not going to be for me, or he's this or that. Like, if you start looking at couples in the world, you can see some pretty creative combinations. And to me, that brought a lot of expansion into my belief of what's possible, into my belief around the possibility of meaningful love in the world. So I challenge you to see these things in the world and start noting that and focusing from that place. What do you think of that, Larry?
Yeah, I think that's great. I really love what you just said about, like, you show up at the date and the picture doesn't look like them, or they've got a few extra pounds or something. I remember when I was doing online dating where that would really sour things. And
that's a good word.
It's kind of like, oh, this person is a liar. And it would really, I just immediately put up this wall. I'm on a date with a liar, someone who's deceitful. Not thinking, okay, wait, it's more about maybe this person has some insecurity, or they, you know, they're not necessarily meaningfully trying to deceive you. There's something deeper there. And if you could just be open to it and just get past it and just let it flow and be objective, maybe you can Let's find something meaningful there.
Right. So really being able to lead with compassion, I think. Because ultimately, and this is a good point, because I meant to say this at the beginning. I mean, everything that I'm talking about today is really about you finding love. So in order to do that, you have to be leading with love. And it's so important that no matter what we're doing, that we also recognize that the other people out there, online, at dating events, you know, waiting in line for coffee, whatever, well, I guess if you know they're single, but all the other singles out there, let's just assume that they are also looking for meaningful love. I mean, we can think, oh, maybe they're like just wanting hookups or whatever. No, let that go. I mean, if you want love, know that these are other human beings who also want love, because the tendency, I think, with some of these tools, specifically online dating, because you're behind a computer, is to forget that there are other human beings out there. And if someone does something that you feel like is not very kind, well, that's their karma. Like, let's lead with kindness, let's lead with love, because ultimately, if you want love, let's hold that love flag high, because the bigger that can be in your space, the more stamina you have to move through the kind of static of things that may not, you know, feel like a match, or people who might not be very good at communicating, or maybe people who have said inappropriate things. Like, that stuff is small stuff. We just want to let that slide by, because ultimately it's about staying focused on where you are going. That's why the vision is so important. So this whole concept of having good guy radar really is about seeing the love in the world and being able to see kindness. So when you can see that, then you're most likely being that. So I love the saying that, you know, you gotta be the one to find the one. So it's an inside job. So jot down any questions you have about that, and I promise after the call, if you want to email me, I'll send you some answers. So let's go on to the next one. The next one is, you're not dating Siri, ask men for help. So once again, this is like being in public where the guys are out there, but if your face is planted in your phone and you're using that for everything when there may be people around you that could offer help, then you're missing opportunities. The challenge here is that we are magnificent women, and we have the capacity to do so much on our own. Honestly, in terms of our ability, I mean, we do have more ability, more ability to do a lot of stuff than men do. Men have that kind of one-track thing. Women here, we're wired to take care of babies and do everything at the same time. I mean, of course, science says that multitasking really doesn't happen, but with women, I think that we do. I mean, and I'm sure Larry will confirm that, because he's seen me in a tornado of doing multiple things at once, and it kind of drives him crazy. But this is the thing. We can do all this stuff, but do we need to? No. If we are looking for partnership, this is an opportunity to be able to start receiving. We need to be able to get into that feminine space where we can receive. And if we are just consistently doing everything, because ultimately we can, then we're missing an opportunity. So if you are out and you see someone who seems like appealing to talk to, then make something up. Like, find a way to ask for help from a man. And let me just tell you this. One of the things that men love more than anything else, well, I can name two things. The two things that men love more than anything, one, women. So they really love us. They want to help us. And two, they love being helpful. They want to be able to see how they can be a part of our life. So if it appears as though you have everything figured out and you can solve every problem, then they don't feel needed and they don't feel like there's space in your world for them. And this too is an energetic thing. So it's really important to consciously bring your awareness to the fact that in partnership, it's about supporting each other. So how can you start practicing that in your world? You can start initiating some help by saying really simple things. Like I've asked men before, like, you know, is there a coffee shop in this neighborhood? Or even if you know the answer, like if you're single, come on, take advantage of this. Or you can ask, you know, what's a good place for lunch, or just make up something simple where they get to share their wisdom. And it's a great way to initiate a conversation. And certainly lead with a smile. And we're going to talk about that more. But I'm going to let Larry share an idea.
You stole my idea. I think it would be great if I was sitting in a coffee shop and a woman came up and said, hey, where's your favorite lunch spot? And, you know, where do you go for lunch? I'm looking for a cool new place to go. And maybe it even leads to an invitation for lunch. I mean, it just seems so natural. It just seems so simple and natural to just say, hey, where do you have lunch? Where's your favorite spot? I'm bored of the places I go to, and see what comes up.
Right, and there's really not that many places that you wouldn't be able to ask that question, right? And certainly most men like food, so they'll probably have an answer for you. So I guess to summarize this section, just remembering, one, men want to be able to help you. Men want to be able to see how they can be a part of your experience, about part of your life. And as women, it's really important to be able to receive. So beyond even asking for help, I also want to reinforce this idea that if someone is offering help, like opening the door for you, like offering to carry your shopping bags or something, whatever it is, say yes, please. Just allow yourself to receive, especially if you're single and especially if you're looking for love. This is the time to start learning how to receive, because it's a beautiful energy. And I know for me, it's still hard, but I really do try to pay attention to that. So, wow, okay, we still have a lot to do. So we're going to cruise on to the next one. The next one is, he is in your love story. So what do I mean by this? So what I mean is that, this is really being clear on your vision. This is also being clear and willing to declare that this is important to you. So this tip, he is in your love story, includes, one, really being able to be clear on what, your love story would be and what it would feel like to kind of be in love, but also being willing to talk about it, being willing to communicate it, and being willing to make love a priority. Because if there's some reason why you're not willing to make it a priority, and I really mean that, if there's some reason why you're not willing to make finding love a priority, but it's something you really want, and if you really want this, it's not uncommon, because studies say that this actually is, romantic partnership is at the top of the list as one of those things that humans long for more than anything else on earth. So why wouldn't you want to make this a priority? So the challenge is, like, if we are kind of hiding it, or we're feeling like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to share that with my friends, that it's really important to me, then there is something in you that says, I don't deserve this. I don't value myself enough to have this. And that's a serious thing to work on, and it's very common. So being able to declare it, and often it helps to write these things down. So writing it down, but also in your conversations with friends and family, just say, you know what? I am excited to create a meaningful relationship in my life, and that's where I am right now. And I remember doing that. I remember when I was doing all this work, which I was very aware of all this stuff in my process, in seeking Larry or working on finding love, is that I would say that I was really, that I think that's one of the essential pieces, is making love a priority. And I would share that with people around me, that I was really excited. I couldn't wait to find my special person. And I was looking forward to doing, XYZ with my partner, and creating those like sweet traditions, building a family, like being able to travel with someone. Really starting to communicate that is a very powerful thing to put out in the world. And I'm not saying you have to share like every kinky detail. Like, yeah, you do not have to do that. But I encourage you to share your love goals, and really what I think is the kind of magic of this tip is that lasting committed love, having that kind of committed relationship, is about sharing your life with someone. So part of, starting to call that in is to start sharing your love story now. So start sharing your dream of creating magical love now, so that you can call that in. So being courageous enough to share that that's important to you is a powerful step. And it also, when you start sharing it, really noticing that sweet anticipation of love as you're doing it. So if this step is a hard one for you, please email me, Macy@BigHappyLove.com, and we can talk about, what's going on for you. What do you think, Larry?
It's a great idea. I certainly did not do this, and it isn't something I just naturally would think to do. But when we were looking for our house, and you had us do that exercise, list everything we wanted in a house, and we kind of stuck that somewhere, and we ended up finding a house, and we moved in, and we found it, and we went through, and we had every single thing we wanted in the house that we had listed. So I didn't do it for finding love, but it absolutely worked amazing. It blew me away in terms of finding the house.
And talking about it.
And talking about
Yeah.
it, and just really manifesting
We definitely talked about that a lot. So yeah, great. Okay, cruising right along. The next one is, he is attracted to your values and passions. So being able to get really clear on what it is that matters to you. So first you have to know what those are. So to find your values, really think about those times in your life. If you can reflect back to those times in your life where you felt like really fulfilled and you really enjoyed, and like they would be the most sacred times of your life. So for example, like one of mine was, you know, my senior thesis art show in college. Like that was like the most like amazing day of my life, being able to share my art and just going through that process. It was just so exhilarating. And so to me, because that is one of the highlights of my life, I know that creativity is a huge value in my life. Perhaps you are, I know we have tons of animal lovers out there right now. I'm so, hi everyone. Anyway, so, you know, if you like had an experience where you rescued a baby squirrel and you brought it back to life, I almost had that experience, but it was a chipmunk. Anyway, like that was a really amazing experience for me, and it's also a core value of mine because I really, really love animals. So I would have to be in a relationship with someone who loves animals. So if you can kind of think about this, these key moments in our life really show us what's important to us. So in order to find your guy, you gotta be engaging in value-based activities. So doing stuff that aligns with your values in your community. These are great pools to meet guys that are potentially compatible with you. So, so seeking those things out. I mean, if you're single and you really want your partner, then this is the time to be engaging in activities with groups that align with your values, because the most important thing is that you want to be having fun in your life now, even as a single person. But since finding love is important to you, find those groups that you can engage in and notice, you know, certainly select them based on your values. The other thing is, like, this seems really obvious, but do fun stuff. Like when you are having fun and you're doing things that are passionate to you, you're super attractive. So this is the time to really, really get out there and engage in things that are super fun for you. And yeah, so really follow your passions and make a conscious effort to be doing those passions with people, other people, so that you are meeting people. The other piece that's kind of the opposite of this in a sense, but I think it's important, is what is called, the acronym is FOMO, F-O-M-O, FOMO, which means fear of missing out. So also notice if you're doing stuff or going to activities because you just are too afraid you're going to miss something. You're too afraid you're going to miss something. What if he's there? What if my future husband is there? Like if you're starting to do things like that, or go to a party or go to a happy hour or a networking thing that you actually don't feel aligned with, but you're like, well, he might be there. I give you permission to let go of some of those things, because if it feels tense, if it feels like not fun, then really what's the point? You know, so being able to discern the differences between, are you doing it because you think you have to, or are you doing it because it's naturally part of your passions and values? And the other thing is, which is a third level of this, is if you're single right now, because, well, you are, because you're on this call, but like get curious about new things. Like, what are those things that you kind of have been curious about doing? Like photography, maybe it's getting into an improv class, maybe it's learning how to crochet. Okay, maybe there won't be a lot of guys in that, but still, it doesn't matter. We're feeding our curiosity and we're getting into that juiciness of who we are and really being able to expand into our personal genius. If we're getting the nudge that, yeah, I really want to learn how to make Japanese food or sushi, you know, like go to a class, go really get yourself out there and elevate your experience by learning and engaging in new things because you've been curious about it. Make space for that because that is part of you. If you're feeling the nudge, trust it. So, you know, this is the time to make space for doing those kinds of activities because ultimately anything that can help us get out there in new ways is awesome, and anything that can kind of expand our gifts is also awesome. So the experiment here is get curious. What did you love as a kid? Think about those things. What did you love to do as a kid that you don't do anymore? Was it drawing? Was it baking? Was it playing dress up? Like, pick something new to add to your life and find a way to get involved in that way. Do you have anything for that one?
I love that FOMO, fear of missing out, because I remember going to events where I really didn't want to go, and I didn't meet anybody, and I was all bummed out and in a bad mood. And then, but if you go to something you really like anyway, then if you don't meet anyone, you're still in a good mood and you still had fun. So it's a great, it's, you know, I know everybody does that.
That's really true.
You know, whether it's, oh no, speed dating's not for me, and then you're more depressed afterwards, or whatever it might be. I could totally see if you're going to go out and spend time, do something you like, and then if you don't meet anyone, you still had a good time.
Right.
And then you don't get all, you know, kind of sour about the whole dating thing too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So cool. All right. So we have a couple more, but I just wanted to pause for a second because if any of you are feeling like, well, hopefully you're not feeling too overwhelmed, but if there are things that are coming up and you're feeling triggered and you're feeling frustrated, I want to share something with you because this is really about really changing your experience of being single, really changing your beliefs so that you can get out there in a bigger, better way. And the one thing I'm offering all of you, just so you know, is an opportunity for us to talk one-on-one and really focus in on your specific challenges finding your great guy. And because this can come from a lot of different sort of subconscious blocks, then it really does help to have a person like me look at that with you so that we can figure out what is it that's really, you know, getting you hung up. So after this call, I will invite you, and because you're signed up on this, you will get an invitation to have that kind of call with me so that we can help you move forward. I mean, there's no sense in losing any more time doing this. I mean, there are tips galore, but unless you know what it is that's really getting you hung up personally, then it's going to continue to repeat. And ultimately, I am here doing this work so that you can have the kind of relationship that Larry and I have, which is really elevated and really fun and really exciting to like play and create and grow together. And everyone deserves to have that. So let's figure this out, and you'll get an email from me as to how to do that following the call, and we'll get you scheduled so that you can take advantage of that. So I really invite you to take advantage of that because it is a huge gift to have that, and that's at no charge for you guys being on this call. Great. moving on to the next one, which I call using your love potion. So what is your love potion? It is your smile. So this is so simple, and you know what? I have to admit, my natural face, I mean, people on Periscope are going to be able to see this, but my natural face is a big, yucky snarl. So I have to like consciously smile. Like, honestly, it takes some muscle work for me to smile, but it does make me feel better. And I think what makes me feel even better is when I do smile at someone, whoever it is, a man or a woman, old lady, kid, dog, whatever. I love the feeling of, you know, that I've basically given someone like a spark of good energy. And I really believe that. And studies say that smiling does so much good. I mean, not only does it make you more attractive, it lifts your own mood, it boosts your own immune system, and certainly as someone receiving a smile, they're going to feel that boost also. So one of the things I read that's scientifically, they call it a Duchenne smile, which means that it's an authentic smile. So if you're feeling like you're just slapping on like a cheesy grin and it's just like you have bungee cords like wrapped around your ears, like holding your lips up kind of smile, then there is a little bit of a different vibe with that. Honestly, I wouldn't get too hung up on this, but to me, if you know that your smile can change another person's day in a dramatic way, how could you not generate ability to wake up when you're out in the world and make eye contact and offer people smiles? Yogi Bhajan, who is a spiritual teacher, one of my teachers, shared that a woman's smile can heal a man. So just being able to offer your smile to someone is an amazing thing. Your smile heals, it's a blessing, and when you give blessings in the world, you will get 100 times back. So don't discriminate, smile at everyone. But certainly in dating, and if you're out like in the world and you see someone that you are kind of wanting to flirt with or smile at, if you're smiling, there's a greater likelihood that you will be approached. So consider that as a way to flirt with someone, because it is, you know, kind of a core element of flirting. So my challenge for you is to start smiling at people and see and just really notice how it feels to smile at people, and recognize that it's a gift that you can give, and keep it at that. Don't worry if people are going to think you're crazy or whatever. Don't go there. Just don't choose to go there. Just let yourself be a gift in the world. So we're going to cruise through to the next one, really, because we're running out of time.
Go to it.
So the next one is what I call creating relationship prosperity, being helpful. Your person comes out when you're helpful. So this one actually I kind of got as a download, and one of the experiences I had when I was practicing was that when I was practicing like all of these techniques in finding my partner, was that I was volunteering in a senior center, and clearly being at a senior center, I'm not expecting to find my person there because they were like 30 years older than me, but I was able to create this energy, this prosperity energy that was more expansive, because when we're helpful in the world, when we're serving in the world, it does automatically expand our love vibe. And when we're wrapped up in our own dramas and stuck in our head, it's very contracting, and it unplugs your love vibe. So when you are in a space where you're giving and serving your community, it is an amazing magnetic energy. So I encourage you to find ways that you can be helpful in the world. Another one piece to this is really recognizing when you are doing the 3 C's, and those are complaining, criticizing, and comparing. As women, the 3 C's, complaining, criticizing, and comparing, immediately will kill your radiance. So pay attention to this. If you notice that you're complaining, and you can see it in other people pretty easily, when you meet someone and they're just complaining, there really is this feeling of like ickiness that comes over me. So just noticing that it literally is killing your radiance, your beauty, your attraction by participating in those. So as an experiment, what would it be like to commit to abstaining from complaining, comparing, and criticizing for 48 hours? And just notice how you feel, notice what happens, because when you abstain from that, you're leading more with your heart. Then the next one is, he loves your goddessness. And the goddessness is just the way you're presenting yourself. If you're single, then this is an opportunity to really start dressing in a way that makes you feel beautiful no matter where you go. And recognize that that simple thing can change your energy. So that can feel really like a low energy. If you're walking with your head looking up, you are going to have a more expanded energy. So do those nice things for yourself that can celebrate who you are and make you feel great. Because even if you're just, running out to the grocery store, potentially around single men. So really paying attention to that and just bringing yourself to where and do those things that make you feel more beautiful, because it shows. The next one is that he moves towards love and runs from fear. And this is something we've kind of talked about quite a bit, is that you can't experience love if you're living in fear that you're not gonna find love. So those two things are not capable of existing at the same time. Love cannot be there if fear is there. So if you know that love and fear cannot coexist, then it's so important for you to do everything you can to be in your love vibe, because this is a journey. And this is a huge point too, that this whole process is a journey. So as soon as you notice that you're getting into fear, it's an important time. I hope we didn't. Hello, everyone. Okay, I think we're okay. Hi, everyone. If you can't imagine what it is that keeps you hard to figure this out, then there is your highest self, and you can get there. So I really invite you to gift yourself this by emailing me at macy@bighappylove if you weren't on this, or look at the schedule, the link that I'll send you, and set up a time for us forward. And ultimately, potentially, these tips and understanding where you're blocked can help you through the amazing holiday season, where we have a lot of opportunities to mingle and interact with people. So I would love to hear so many success stories around people finding their person in the next couple months, which is totally possible. So thank you, Larry, for sharing some of your insights.
My pleasure. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Big happy love to you. Bye.